We do a lot of negative speculation on this game, and it's easy to bash the devs for not fixing things, sort of like I did yesterday and several times before that. But let's change pace today. Let's speculate on some positive change to this game. Hey guys, Nightfall here, and today I want to speculate, but the good kind of speculate. There have been so many leaks that have come out about this game before Season 1 and even since the Season 1 update. They're just hidden under the rubble of all the issues going on. So, just a little over 2 weeks into Season 1, I thought, why not do a deep dive into what could be in store for the players for Season 2 and beyond? In order to do that, we first have to line up when each season will likely be released, and if they plan on having 4 seasons per year, and Season 1 released on July 2nd, then it's likely that it'll follow something like this. Season 2 probably going to launch October 1st, Season 3 on January 7th, and then Season 4 on or around April Fool's Day. So they could do quite a lot of things with these dates, and based on what we know so far, we know that they seem to be pulling from other Ubisoft titles. So let's take a tour through what games Ubisoft has in their back pocket and make some predictions on what could make an appearance in XDefiant in the near future. But before we do that, you know I have to tell you about our awesome Discord. And once the customs for this game is released, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. So make sure you join up on the Discord over there, and also if you enjoy this type of content, maybe drop a sub for your boy. Help the channel grow, but that's enough of that, let's get into it. Keep in mind that yes, Ubisoft does make a lot of games, like Star Wars, Avatar, so on. But those are licensed games, so I'm only going to be referring to their original titles. Until we have some sort of historical data to pull from, and they bring a non-original game into the game as a faction, then we're just going to be focusing on their original titles until that point. And with the Season 1 update, we already had a faction come in from Rainbow Six Siege, and they've been sort of lackluster if I'm being honest. The hype was more or less only due to the name that was tied with it, and some of the leaks have suggested that Season 2 could bring us a faction from the Far Cry series, and that would make sense considering we already have maps in the game that are based on Far Cry, and I've never touched a Far Cry title in my life. So you'll have to let me know in the comments what could be coming from that series. I've heard mentions of the Highwaymen or something, but we already have a faction from the Far Cry series, and surely they wouldn't repeat this early on in the game's lifespan, right? Now, I'll let this video also serve as my official prediction video for the rest of year 1, so these won't just be, I want to see this come into the game. These will be more of, this is what I think is coming. So let's check off games that are already represented by a faction, because I really don't think they're going to repeat any right in year 1. So first up, we have the Cleaners representing The Division, the Phantoms representing Ghost Recon, DedSec from Watch Dogs, Libertad from Far Cry, Echelon from Splinter Cell, and most recently, the GSK from Rainbow Six Siege. And most of you may not even remember this roadmap they shared with us before the full launch of the game, and I tried to find any correlation between the names and the colors and what we've got so far with Season 1, and outside of Ruby and Rainbow both starting with an R, I got nothing. So if you see any other connections here, let me know in the comments. But let's start with Season 2, because I just can't see them adding 2 factions from the same series this early. So regardless of all the hype and the leaks, I don't think Far Cry is going to be added for Season 2 again. Season 2 would be released on or around October 1st, and this one it's going to be a bit tricky because they're going to have to fit 2 or 3 pretty major holidays into one season. They would have Halloween, which personally is my favorite holiday, Thanksgiving, which is primarily only a US-based holiday, and Christmas. Now, Siege usually observes both Halloween and Christmas to some extent, usually in event mode in-game for a couple weeks, which, if you're unfamiliar with Doctor's Curse on Rainbow Six Siege, it is an absolute blast, and I live for that time of year. I may be mostly on that for a couple weeks if it makes a return this year, but not to get sidetracked. Season 2, October 1st, what could it be? I'm going to have to start with probably one of the most obvious, Assassin's Creed. One of Ubisoft's better known franchises, and the new Assassin's Creed Shadows drops right in the middle of Season 2 on November 15th. So I'd be willing to bet we get something from Assassin's Creed. I'm thinking it will be the Season 2 faction, but it could very well also be a map that we get in Season 2 for the second month. But you can go ahead and officially mark my Season 2 faction prediction down as Assassin's Creed. Up next, we have Season 3, which should come right around January 7th or so. And there's been talk of the crew coming into XDefiant, but I don't think that's going to be a faction. How could you even make that a faction anyway? It does look like the new Daytona map that we should be getting around the beginning of September is something out of the crew, so maybe that is the only thing they're going to get to represent that series, because I just don't see how you make that work as a faction. Instead, I think Season 3 is going to bring another fan favorite title, For Honor. They're going to need to do all they can to keep the hype up for year one as long as they can, with all the issues that they're having at the moment. So that's my pick for Season 3. Lock it in, For Honor. Then finally we come upon Season 4, which I would estimate to be released around April Fool's Day, if not right on the day itself. And they could go one of two ways with this. Ubisoft has historically done April Fool's events in other games, and by other games I mean Siege, but that's usually just an event for a couple weeks with a collection skin and all that stuff. This would be introducing a whole new faction, something permanent into this game. So they could play into that and give us the most ridiculous faction we will ever see, or completely ignore April Fool's Day and finish the year off safe. With that said, I'm thinking either Rabbids or Prince of Persia. And I'm leaning more towards Rabbids, only because some of the weapon skins I've seen in the game already, I think maybe they're testing the waters with those and seeing how people will react to combat-ready Rabbids. Season 4 could honestly make or break the game, and predictions for year one are hard to make considering we don't have a whole lot of historical data to pull from this game by itself. So a lot of these are based on experiences from other Ubisoft games that I've played, which isn't necessarily a bad thing since this whole game is just pulling pieces from other Ubisoft titles and putting them into one single game, which could also be why this game feels like it's been stitched together on the back end at times. But there you have it. Those are my predictions. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, as it really does help. And also comment below if you agree with my predictions, or if not, what factions do you think are going to be coming in year one? But that's all for now. I'll catch you in the next one.